When 3-year-old Abigail Hays was born, doctors and nurses in the delivery room knew something was wrong right away. Then they performed a tube test, and here's Abigail's miracle story.
For Amy and Jeff Hays, learning that their unborn daughter Abigail was breached was perhaps just a minor complication compared to what they would discover after delivery.
When she was in the surgical room and she came right out and they knew something was wrong, they were evaluating her and checking her, and they stuck a tube down her throat that stopped and didn't go all the way down to the stomach where it should.
X-rays confirmed that Abigail's esophagus was deformed. Instead of attaching itself to her stomach, Abigail's throat attached itself to her windpipe.
Abigail was born with a congenital anomaly called a tracheoesophageal fistula and also had esophageal atresia. In this particular case, the esophagus ended blindly and the bottom part of the esophagus joined into the trachea so that if you tried to swallow, the secretions had nowhere to go. Even more concerning is that there was a connection between the esophagus below and the stomach. So if she were to vomit contents from the stomach, it would go up into the lungs.
Within 48 hours of birth, Abigail's surgery was scheduled, and the talented surgeons and medical staff at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia reconstructed and reattached Abby's esophagus to her stomach and closed off the hole to her trachea, but not without some post-operative complications.
In many of the kids that have tracheoesophageal fistula, they also have a floppy airway, or it doesn't have as much strength or sturdiness, and it will collapse. So when kids will cry or cough, it increases the pressure in the chest. That pressure can be enough to collapse the airway, and all of a sudden they're not moving air.
And as any parent will attest, it's almost impossible to keep a baby from crying. But in Abby's case, a dirty diaper or feeling hungry would cause a life-threatening blue spell, which would send Abby's caregivers into emergency mode. The Hays credit NICU nurse Rebecca Dudelick with saving Abby's life during one such blue spell.
Abigail had a blue spell. She collapsed her trachea and she was unable to ventilate through the breathing tube. So we called a code blue, and we had a lot of medical staff that came to help at Abigail's bedside, and we were actually able to take out the breathing tube and ventilate her with an oxygen bag and mask and open up that collapsed area of Abigail's trachea.
It's one thing for a professionally trained nurse to perform CPR on an infant, but it's something completely different when a parent must perform the same delicate procedures on a newborn baby.
Amy and Jeff were fabulous. They were there, they had their support system, they learned how to care for Abby when she was getting ready to go home, and they learned what to do in case of an airway emergency.
About today too.
On one such occasion, Amy was home alone with Abigail.
As I looked in the crib, her color was off. She was blue and foaming, and my first reaction, honestly, was I thought she was dead. Realized that I had to go in the mode of what CHOP taught me. Put her on the floor, I gave her CPR. I did that for about 2 minutes. I ran down the stairs with her, carrying her in my arms as a dead weight. And at the time I still thought she was dead, and I just called 911, and when they answered, the only words the whole time that came out of my mouth was just my baby.
Finally, as emergency services arrived, Abigail opened her eyes. Her life saved by her mother's quick thinking and the life-saving training she received at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia.
You know, I'm at work and I get a call from a 911 operator saying that your baby had turned blue and we're taking her to the hospital. You know, that was unbelievable.
Your baby's out of your hands. You can't save your baby. You don't know what to do. And you find yourself on your knees just wanting everybody to help. And when a doctor who has talent that is unfathomable can just go in and fix something, you get an extreme amount of thanks, because your baby is so fragile and so soft and tender when it comes out, and you can't imagine cutting it open and going in and you know, and messing with something, but yet they know how to do it so gently. I look at her now and you wouldn't even know unless you took her shirt off and you saw all her scars, like what has happened to her. She has so much energy, like I can't even keep up with her. She runs around, she plays with the dog. She's so independent, she's so bossy in a good sense, you know. She just knows what she wants to do. She's acted this way from the minute she came out of the room. As far as dreams, I just want to see her be a mother.
Just amazing. Can you imagine having to perform CPR on an infant?